Welcome back to the show. I am Tom Sense. This is The Tom Sense Show, and we are coming to you on the air right now, bringing you the actual truth while the mainstream media spends another hour running around in circles. Before we get into the headlines, a quick reminder for everyone watching. This show belongs to you. You can drop a question in the chat on YouTube or over on X at any point during this broadcast. If it is a real question worth answering, I will take it right here in the middle of the news. No waiting around, no scripted nonsense, just the truth. Now, let us get into the stories the establishment is trying to spin this hour. Our first story this hour is a major battle over who actually runs your family, you or the government bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention just dropped some massive new data. They say kindergarten vaccine exemptions hit a record high of 4.2% during the 2025 to 2026 school year. That is up from 3.6% the year before, which means about 155,000 children. Now, the media is in a total meltdown because this falls below the 95% herd immunity threshold, and they are pointing fingers at President Donald Trump. Why? Because back on the 10th of August, President Trump signed a major executive order. It directs Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to revise the childhood vaccination schedule and pressure states to make religious exemptions easier to get. The self-appointed experts at places like the Trust for America's Health are losing their minds, claiming this destroys decades of scientific consensus and will cause massive outbreaks. But the administration and parental rights groups are standing firm. They say this is about basic bodily autonomy and stopping federal overreach. Let us be entirely honest here. The same people who spent years telling us that government bureaucrats have total ownership over your child's medical decisions are now shocked that parents want their own voices back. If these federal health agencies want parents to trust them again, maybe they should try answering basic questions instead of trying to act like a national school board. Moving on to the media circus, where CNN is currently crying foul after getting a dose of reality from the Trump administration. On the 17th of August, during an Oval Office event, CNN reporter Kristen Holmes tried to pull a classic media stunt. She asked the 80-year-old president to respond to some viral online gossip from Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff about Trump's 35-year-old executive assistant, Natalie Harp. Instead of playing along with the high school drama, President Trump shut her down immediately, calling her a fake reporter, telling her to be quiet, and pointing to a 10-year-old boy sitting in the room to show how inappropriate she was being. Afterwards, the White House communications team called her question filthy and inhumane. CNN immediately went into full victim mode, releasing a statement calling the administration's response beneath the office. Left-wing analysts are out there weeping about press freedom, while the rest of the country is laughing. This is the classic media double standard at work. The press wants the absolute freedom to drag a young female staffer's name through the mud with baseless internet gossip. But the second the president calls them out for acting like cheap supermarket tabloids, they claim their constitutional rights are being violated. If CNN wants to be treated like a serious news organization, they should try asking questions about the economy or national security instead of reciting trashy social media comments in front of children in the Oval Office. We turn now to a very serious situation developing in Africa, where the World Health Organization has officially declared that the ongoing Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is now the deadliest in that nation's history. This outbreak is caused by the Bundibugyo species of the virus, which is incredibly dangerous because there is currently no approved vaccine or specific treatment for it. The numbers are devastating. There are 4,665 confirmed cases and 2,184 deaths, which means a case fatality rate of nearly 47%. The virus started in the Ituri province and has since spread to 54 health zones across 6 provinces. Containment has been nearly impossible because of local humanitarian crises, mass displacement, and ongoing fighting in areas controlled by rebels. On top of that, local healthcare workers are on strike because they have not been paid, and local populations are deeply distrustful of outside medical teams. International aid groups are pointing out that funding has dropped off significantly after the Trump administration froze State Department foreign aid. This freeze has impacted regional surveillance networks, making it much harder to track and stop the virus from crossing borders. It is a terrible human tragedy, and we can only hope that regional authorities can find a way to secure these areas so medical teams can safely do their jobs and contain this deadly pathogen before it spreads any further. An update now on the story we brought you earlier regarding our military alliances in East Asia. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has escalated diplomatic tensions to a whole new level, demanding complete military independence and the immediate return of wartime operational control to Seoul. This is a direct reaction to President Donald Trump's recent decision to scale back major joint military exercises between the United States and South Korea. President Trump made it clear that these massive, expensive drills are not necessary right now, especially given his strong personal relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Plus, the administration has been pushing South Korea to pay their fair share of the defense burden. President Lee is now warning his country to prepare for a worst-case scenario where they can no longer rely entirely on Washington. This has started a massive debate on both sides of the ocean. The Washington establishment is panicking, claiming that President Trump is isolating an ally and encouraging North Korea. But let us look at the plain facts. South Korea is an incredibly wealthy, high-tech industrial powerhouse. If they are fully capable of building world-class technology and running a massive economy, there is absolutely no reason why American taxpayers should be permanently funding their basic defense drills. President Trump's America First policy is simply reminding our allies that partnership is a two-way street, and true sovereignty means paying for your own security instead of sending the bill to working-class Americans. We have the latest now on the escalating situation in the Middle East, where congressional Democrats are already drawing up plans to tie the president's hands. Senator Tim Kaine and Representative Ro Khanna announced they will introduce a war powers resolution when the Senate returns in September. Their goal is to block President Trump from taking any military action against Oman. This comes after President Trump warned that the United States would bomb Oman if they interfere with shipping negotiations in the vital Strait of Hormuz. Shlomopearl4946 in the YouTube chat is asking why Trump said the Strait of Hormuz is United States territory. Well, Shlomi, he didn't say that. What he did say is that we will bomb Oman if they interfere with our negotiations over that vital shipping lane. Let us follow their logic all the way here. The Democrats want us to play nice and worry about hurting the feelings of a, quote, long-term ally, while Iran tries to block the energy routes that power the entire globe. President Trump understands that you do not need to own the water to keep the shipping lanes open. You just need to make sure the guys sitting next to it know exactly what will happen if they touch the thermostat. Good. Let's carry on. Oman has been trying to act as a mediator to resolve the conflict between the United States and Iran, but things have become incredibly tense since the official ceasefire between Washington and Tehran expired. Democrats are complaining that Trump's aggressive language is going to ruin our relationship with a long-term ally and push the Middle East right into the arms of Russia and China. But the White House and congressional Republicans are defending the president's heavy-handed tactics. They say that when you are dealing with critical global energy routes and hostile actors, showing weakness is the fastest way to start a war. Tough posturing is how you protect American shipping and keep global trade moving without actually having to put boots on the ground. This war powers resolution is just another round of partisan theater from Democrats who would rather complain about the president's tone than actually secure our shipping lanes. Finally, tonight, a judge in San Luis has issued an arrest warrant for former Green Party presidential candidate Dr. Jill Stein. This happened after Stein and her lawyer failed to show up for a scheduled court hearing on the 17th of August. The court date was for misdemeanor charges of assault and trespassing, which go back to an April 2024 pro-Palestinian protest at Washington University, where more than 100 people were arrested. Stein was formally charged in March of 2025, but when the clock struck 9 a.m. for her hearing, her side of the room was completely empty. Judge Karma Johnson did not hesitate and issued the failure to appear warrant immediately. Stein's campaign has been completely silent so far, but her far-left supporters are already crying foul, claiming this is politically motivated retaliation against anti-war activists. Let us use a little common sense here. The left spent years telling us that no one is above the law and that everyone must respect our judicial institutions. But apparently, when a far-left activist candidate decides she has better things to do than show up to her own criminal hearing, suddenly the rules are supposed to disappear. If you participate in a protest, get arrested, and get charged, you have to show up to court, just like every other citizen in this country. No exceptions. That is our show for this hour. Thank you for joining us on The Tom Sense Show. Keep asking the tough questions, keep demanding the truth, and I will see you right back here next time.